computer. And I'm going to make the MJ Ewing.
Yep.
All right. So this is going to be an ongoing series. What is and why Torah? And I know we talk about Torah quite a lot. I know we toss around that word around quite often. We talk about how much law we're supposed to be keeping or how much law we keep, and we probably use the word law more than we use the word Torah, right? So I wanted to, because of a few of the last sessions, get a full gist of everyone's beliefs, because we all come into this cultural studies that Brother Marlon has put together with our own beliefs. We have our own stance, we have our own opinions, we have our own outlook on things, we have our own perspective, we have things that we're stubborn about, things of that nature. And I know sometimes when Brother Marlon brings something out, or I bring something out, or even Brother BA brings something out, it may be a little unfamiliar, or it may ruffle the feathers. And it's not meant to do any of those things. However, the word is a lot of times it triggers an emotional response from us, because our beliefs are something I believe grown emotionally attached to, right? And that's okay. That's okay. I just want to get an understanding of everyone's beliefs. So um, before we even bring up any text, um, for what is and why Torah, uh, does anyone know or want to tell us what the word Torah means?
You got me?
Kind of breaking up a little bit, BA.
What about now? Is that better?
You still sounding like a robot, and yeah, you having some issues over there with your.
What about now? Is that better?
There we go.
Yeah, that's better.
All right. Uh, Torah, based on my understanding of what I have looked into, um, means teachings. When we look at it from a Hebraic perspective, the Hebrew language is very concrete and it's based on movement, actions. So these teachings are only going to be validated based on how you move. It's based on your lifestyle. It's based on activism and movement. So Torah teachings, yes, you can study it, and yes, you can know some things, but you can know something and still be wicked, and you can know solutions to problems and still not do nothing about it. Torah is based on actions and movement. And I'm not advocating that anyone has to learn the language or has to learn the culture of the Hebraic thought, but it plays a big part and is very essential to understand how the ancestors or the people who came before us understood things, and how the Most High has revealed certain things, not just to Israel, because I go beyond that. How he has revealed himself to humanity. The Most High he didn't reveal himself only to Israel. Humanity was created in the image of the Most High, which we understand to be consist of male and female, Adam and Eve. He revealed himself to them first. So I would suggest that we look at it from that perspective and go before Israel, because they ain't everything about Israel. Israel plays a part, but we got to remember, nothing happens without the Most High. And with that, just want to share that.
Thank you, BA. Anyone else? Is everyone on the same wavelength of belief with what BA explained about what Torah means or is defined as? Does everyone agree with what he said?
I like how you said that. When I think of Torah, I typically just think of law and order. Think of guidelines and how we're supposed to live and build our own life and create our own halakha. That's kind of how I think of it. Just how do you take the instructions that we've been given, and how do you build a life out of that in your own personal time?
Thank you, Brother Marlon.
Hey,
And Shabbat Shalom to Brother Joshua and Livetta. That's a sister, I believe, right? Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to you all. Go ahead, BA.
I just want to ask the brother Marlon real quick a question.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned halakha. For those who in the audience and the class who may not be familiar with that term, can you give us a little more clarity for those who may not understand what that term is?
Mm-hmm. So it's the walk you take, right? So I like to think about it as like in first century AD, we have 4 different sects of Judaism, right? You have the Pharisees and the Sadducees, that people are most familiar with. You have the Zealots and the Essenes, and they all have access to the Torah at this point in time. I think that the Tanakh as well, if I'm not mistaken. But they have their own interpretation of how it should be carried out, right? And so in modern day times now, we have a lot of different denominations and sects. And you have people that call themselves messianics or non-messianics there, and they act a certain way according to what they believe. I look at it as that way, basically.
Okay.
I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Halakha also means defense. It also means defense to protect the Torah or to protect the commandments, because we understand this mindset from a halakhic perspective. Israel at this time felt that it was a need to protect the law or the Torah or the holy teachings of the Most High from those who were not of the Jewish mindset, or more so who was of the nationality of being a Jew and or an Israelite. They decided to protect and to block and to fence off these sacred laws that they felt that were so sacred, and they are sacred. But the issue was, we understand historically, it was not the nation's fault at all. Israel fell on their own. They can't blame but nobody else but themselves. So then we have all these different methods or these different types of school of thought that come in and these different interpretations. And now all of a sudden we have this view of Torah, that view of Torah. So up, north, east, west, down south, over here, up there, all over the place. And now all of us, and we see that certain things are taken way out of context, or certain things are added. And like Moses said in Deuteronomy chapter 4, he said, you're not to add or take away, because when you take away, you add. And when you add, you take away. That's why the Most High told Moses, tell Israel to leave it as it is. And I repeat again, because when you add to Torah, you take away the substance of Torah. And then when you take away the substance of Torah, you add something. And that's the reason why it's very vital and it's imperative to understand what was given from the Most High and what was not given from the Most High. Just wanted to state that as well. But thank you, brother. I appreciate your words.
I appreciate them too. And with everything that BA clarified and what everything Brother Marlon brought out about halakha, we tend to not know the sincerity or we tend not to know the sincere milk or the origins of things before they went totally left field, and now we got all this fighting. Now we got all these different sects. Now we got all these different ideologies, right? Now we got all these different camps. So I wanted to just go back to say, let's look at what is Torah and why. Why Torah? Or why, as a whole, these individual ordinances and statutes? Why did the Most High give a people these things? So, question, before I have Brother Marlon bring up text, does anyone here believe that there are Torah or instructions in Genesis?
It's all over Genesis. All
Yeah.
over.
BA says yes. Brother Marlon says yes. Anybody else? Yes. Yep. Okay, cool. All right.
I'm not familiar with the Torah. I just thought it was the Hebrew Bible. That's what I thought, but I'm not familiar with it.
This is good. So let's do this. Thank you for saying that, Ms. Ewing. Let's do this. Brother Marlon, could you please bring up you could bring up Blue Letter Bible, and let's go to the lexicon, the concordance. And let's look up we're gonna look up the Hebrew word Torah. What is it? It's this tet wav resh hey, and then we're also gonna look at what is the root word or the shoresh or the root word that Torah actually stems from. This is why I'm doing this is good, right? Because everybody has their own take of things. I have my own take, Brother BA, Brother Marlon, Sister Hannah, Sister Arlene, that's who that is. Sister Amber, Sister Courtney, right? Brother Joshua, Brother Darius, Levita, Levetta, we all have our own understandings. Yeah, so I want you to look up H88451. Can you do that? 8451. Torah. Feminine noun. And in the Hebrew language, there are masculine words, feminine words. It's pretty much just the structure of the words that make them masculine or feminine. A lot of times it does not have to do with any sex, so to speak, like male or female, like you and I are. However, when male and female are being talked about, a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, the Hebrew words, that are in the masculine and the feminine will reflect that, right? So let's look at here, outline of biblical uses. Could you scroll up a little bit with that? Okay, so law, direction, instruction. These and in the concordance, it'll tell you. In the concordance, is pretty much listing what that word is defined as in certain verses. That's pretty much what the concordance gives you. So body of prophetic teaching, instruction in the Messianic age, body of priestly directional instruction, body of legal directives, and B, subcategories of the law are law of the burnt offering, and then there's special law or codes of law, and C, custom or manner, and D, Deuteronomic or Mosaic law, right? So in the Strong's definitions there, could you scroll up a little bit, Brother Marlon? It says from H3384, and we're going to go there real quick in a minute. 3384 is a precept or statute. So when people be like, man, we bringing out these precepts, they think that means cross-reference verses. Well, here, legitimately, a precept is a commandment. It's an instruction. That's what a precept is, right? So a precept or a statute, especially the Decalogue or Pentateuch. So the Decalogue, that would be your 10 commandments or 10 utterances, right? Or the Pentateuch, which is the 5 books, first 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. That's the first 5 books of the Bible, and that is what is known as the foundation. That's what everything is built upon. The foundation. That's the foundation. So like a house has a family, right? And these family have what Marlon called law and order. There's measurements or rules, right? This is why we call this thing a ruler, because it measures, right? So these are the measurements of the boundaries that set forth within it how the family conducts itself, and that's what defines that particular family as that functioning family, right? So Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Let's go to H3384. So this is where Torah, the word comes from. This is the root. Has anyone ever noticed that Torah is not actually how the word began? It's actually a morph from this word right here, yara. Has anyone heard of the word yara?
Never knew that.
Tight. This is why this is good. So, it's a verb, right? It's a verb. Let's go to outline of biblical usage. And 1, to throw, shoot, cast, or pour. Like Brother BA said, the Hebrew language is so concrete. It's so solid. This is why in Revelation it says the Messiah's hair was white like wool. And what we have done is say, okay, well, when we hear white like wool, we automatically think the hair woolly. However, when there's concrete things such as to describe a color, they would give the ancient Israelites would give a definition of something that has this solid color. So white like teeth, white like milk. Not saying something is teeth, we're not saying something is milk, but teeth are supposed to be what? White? And milk is supposed to be white. So this is how they explain things. So when you throw, shoot, cast, or pour, why do you guys think Torah comes from this root word that means throw, shoot, cast, or pour? Why do you guys think that? It's kind of trippy, right? Okay, so let's go to B. Well, no, let's go to the subcategories of A. So go back up, Brother Marlon.
Yep.
So to throw, shoot, cast, or pour. So to lay, set, or shoot arrows, throw water, throw rain. Rain.
Now, setting would make sense.
What would make sense, Brother Marlon?
Laying or setting.
Laying or setting would make sense. But shooting arrows does not make sense in this case of how this word morphed into instruction.
The closest thing I can think of to make sense of that is when cops try to shoot their bullets of justice. That's about it.
Okay. I want you to pull up this verse right here.
Oh, when I hear arrow, my mind went militant.
Right.
Mine went militant. Okay.
Yeah, because that's where it went. I don't know why, but it just did.
Okay, pull up another tab. Leave this. This is good. Leave this tab here. Pull up another tab. Pull up Proverbs chapter 4. Proverbs chapter 4. Hold on, You guys, let me mute myself for a hot second.
Mm-hmm. Could also mean teach.
Verse 27. Yeah,
Or
'cause-
27?
yeah, it does. Proverbs 4:27. Sorry, I had to talk to the.
Oh, you good.
Uh-huh. So Proverbs 4:27. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. Why do you think the Most High, when you don't turn to the right or the left, what direction you turning into?
Straight ahead.
Forward move.
Oh, boom!
Straight away.
Straight away, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll go back to the tab for H3384.
That's
So
Joshua 1:8 too.
come on now. You can pull it up if you like. Brother Marlon, Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. Let's look at it. Joshua 1 and 8.
I think that's the one.
Must you in the area, huh, sis? You in the area? That's not it. It's probably it's in there. Come on.
You gotta probably go up a little bit.
Can you see it?
Yeah, the right hand or to the left hand, same thing.
It says, only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right or to the left. So when the Most High is telling you, don't turn to the right or to the left, what the Most High is saying?
The narrow
Yeah.
path.
There you go, VA. So go back to 3384.
Don't that kind of lines up with the master when he says the broad gates will lead to destruction,
Come on.
but the narrow gates will lead to salvation. Because everybody's always going left or right, even
Come
in
on.
the more religious world, whether it be Christendom in Israel. Over here, oh, I do it this way. No, I do it that way. No, we do it up there. No, it's the narrow path that will lead to salvation. What everybody's doing that's popular by demand, it's about standing out.
Yep.
I can dig it.
That's why he told Joshua, "This book of the law shall not depart," because he had to, he told him don't go to the left or to the right. So if you meditating on this, the word will cause you to go straight way.
Straight and narrow path. Right? Straight and narrow path. So when you shoot arrows, when you have an archer, he's aiming for what? That red circle in the middle. Boom, straight. So a teacher, what does a teacher do? Point something out. A teacher points something out. A teacher what? Guides, directs. Point something out,
Sets
right?
the rule.
Right? And when you, there you go. When you point something out, you're also informing. Right?
So the Torah is pointing to something.
Say it one more time.
The Torah is pointing towards something.
There we go. Yeah.
It's pointing towards perfection, the new person, the new mind. It's towards completion, perfection, and being a better individual. That's Torah.
And isn't that what Paul said in Romans? Or no, Romans? Well, is it Romans? Or no, Philippians. Philippians is right before my mom's favorite verse in that chapter. I press for the mark. I press toward the mark. Like an archer. Pressing toward that mark. What's the mark? So when BA says the Torah is pointing to something, it's Christ, right? And what does Christ represent? Christ represents the embodiment of what we're supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
And watch this. From the beginning, from Genesis, it has been pointed out what we were supposed to be doing. And it also goes back to what BA was saying. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1. Let's read a little bit. And sometimes I'm going to try to pull things from the Hebrew when it's necessary. All right. Who wants to read? I know we all went over Genesis before, but there's certain things like we don't necessarily probably simmer over or let sizzle for a minute when we read Genesis. All right. So, Sister Arlene, you said you wanted to read.
Yeah, if y'all can hear me good.
Okay. If we can't, we'll let you know. We'll try to have someone else. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what you want me to read?
Start from verse 1.
What you want me to read?
What's in front of you? Genesis chapter 1. Mm-hmm.
In the beginning. Okay. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Pause.
And God said,
Pause.
let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters.
Pause.
And
Can you hear me, sis?
Divide the waters.
Can you hear me,
waters.
sis? Can you hear me, sis? Sis.
Yeah.
Sis. Pause.
Yeah.
Okay. Pause
Yeah.
after verse 5. Pause after verse 5. I'm gonna share some of my beliefs here, and these may be far-fetched. However, these are something that you can go back and look at. I'm not saying this is a solid absolute. I'm just saying I can see how I came up to this conclusion, right? A whole pie, right? A whole pie is a whole circle, right? And when you have a whole pie, it's one circle. What do you call it? You call it one pie, right? One pie. I know this is gonna seem far-fetched. All right. So in Genesis chapter 1, verse 5, when the evening and the morning were the first day, I see that as a whole pie. And then starting at verse 6, when the Most High is talking about the second day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, the sixth day, the seventh day, right? I believe the seventh day is that one whole pie. I believe each day was included in that one whole pie, and that one whole pie was separated out into days, and that seventh day encompasses all the days into one. That's what I believe. That's why I said people.
That's
go ahead.
So I think it's verse 3 and 4. I kind of agree with that. But I think when he first establishes light and darkness and the evening and the morning, I think he's establishing the boundaries of time. Whereas later on, he creates, the sun and the moon outside of that for them to exist in that cycle there, if that makes sense.
Definitely. That makes sense too. And from my outlook, it would include the boundaries, the boundaries of time.
Mhm.
You
Yeah, 'cause
know,
I think
because when there's light, when there's light and darkness, when there's evening and morning, it's all there. So
Mhm.
I definitely understand that take. You know.
Yeah.
Now this doesn't have anything to do with foundation. I mean have anything to do with salvation. I'm just saying. I'm just giving an example of, hey, we have our beliefs. I didn't always have that belief, you know, and that belief could change. I'm
Yes.
always up for I'm always up for reasoning. Somebody says, if Sister Amber comes, or Sister Arlene, Brother BA, Brother Marlon, Miss Ewan, be like, hey Shanti, hey, you know what you were talking about over there? I got something I want to show you. Hey, what do you think about this? I'm open for stuff like that.
Right.
I'm definitely open for stuff like that. Maybe the approach
Mhm.
is to be in an integral manner, but I'm definitely up for it because that could change. And that goes for any of my beliefs. You know, there are some things I'm stubborn on, there are some things I'm firm in. However, a lot of times if there's an integral approach and there's some honest resources or articles or documents that you bring to me, I'm here to look at them. I'm very open to that. I'm very open to that. All right, so please continue with verse 6.
Can't see it.
Right, there we go.
And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was all good. I'm gonna say that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was all good. I like that. All good. It was good. All right. You want me to keep going?
Yes, please keep
And the
going.
evening and the morning, and the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons and for the days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, and the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars also. And God
Pause.
set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth.
Okay.
Yes,
Keep going.
ma'am.
Keep going. Keep going to verse 18. Keep going
Okay.
to verse 18.
And,
Can
okay.
can you
And to
see?
rule over the day. Who?
Can you see?
Huh?
Can you see?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, it just looked like you were
Yeah,
having a hard time seeing.
yeah, we
Oh,
can hear you. You know, when you
that's
read,
old.
when you read Sister Arlene, you kind of sound like you're preaching.
Preach on,
Who
Sister
said
Arlene. Preach on,
that? BA?
Brother
I'm
BA.
sorry. I'm a natural preacher. I can't help myself. I feel the anointing. Okay. I feel the Holy Ghost. No, I'm
Hey,
just-
bring it on, sis. Bring it on. Bring it on.
I'm gonna need somebody to fan me in a minute. No, I'm just- and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. Now I hope y'all ain't irritated by me reading like that.
No, not at all.
Anyway.
Pause right there though. So the Most
Okay.
High is now has set forth things that are going to govern the time frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
And govern, rule. You know, when you got rule, you're setting rules in place, right? Setting rules in place.
Mm-hmm.
That's there. This is the framework, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Keep going. Verse 19.
And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. I can't see all the 20 yet.
He gonna move it up.
Marlon. Okay. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning was the fifth day. God was busy. He was busy, boy.
Now pause. I want you to pause right there for a hot second. So when we see be fruitful and multiply here for the creatures who are filling the waters and the seas of the area there, be fruitful and multiply. A lot of people just think that just means sexual reproduction. I just think it just means basic production. Basic production, right? Basic production, so you can thrive here, thrive here on Earth, right? Okay, continue with verse 23. We're going somewhere. I know this seems boring, but we're going somewhere with this, right?
Boring.
Huh?
No, it ain't
Okay,
boring.
cool. All right, continue, please.
Okay. All right. So we did. Where we at? Verse 23.
Correct.
And the evening verse 24. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
Pause.
And God said, behold.
Pause.
Yes, I'm
Pause.
pausing.
Pause. Yeah, I'm just pausing. Okay, so verse 26, 27, 28.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about who the us is right now. I don't want to get into that.
That's right.
I don't want to get into that.
Don't
I
go
want
to
to get
the left, don't go to the right.
Crazy.
Take a straight way, sis. Straight way.
Man. Make man. man. In the Hebrew, that word is Adam. Aleph, Dalet, Mem, so feet. A lot of people believe this is just the male. However, when you see something, I won't go to the Hebrew today, but please go back to the Hebrew of verse 26. You can actually see that them. It says let them. So man seems singular, right? Man seems to be singular when we read it, right? M-A-N. We think man is singular, right? So Aleph Dalet Mem so feet there when it's talking about them, it actual them. So let me go to it. Does the Bible Hub have well, no, not Bible Hub. Does Blue Letter have Hebrew, Brother Marlon?
Yeah, I got pulled up.
Okay. Pull up the whole verse of 26 in the Hebrew.
I got you. Oh. Go ahead.
Okay. Scroll down a little bit. This is beautiful. Scroll down a little bit more. It says, let them have dominion. Okay, it says, hold on. Radah seems to be the root word for that, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a third person masculine plural. And I'm able to look at that. There's a, okay, for people who might not know Hebrew a little bit, but from right to left, it's weyirdu. So there's a way, which means and. It's a conjunction there, means and then there's a yod after that waw. So a little hand, that's the yod, right? So the yod, and then the last letter of that word there is a shurek. It's a vav with a dot on the left side. So when you have that, you have a ooh. So the morphology of the word, you know, from me practicing Hebrew a little bit, is let me know that yod and that shurek at the end, it's a third person masculine plural. So them. So Adam is them here. And in the Greek for this verse, you'll see the word for man as anthropos. Anthropos is human being. Human being is a male and a female pair. Male and female pair. That's why the verse calls them. That's why the verse calls Adam, mankind, them. Male and female pair. Anyone already knew that or did not know that?
I knew that. When I used to own a strong concordance, I used to knew that. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
You know what stands out about that? About we see the Most High saying, "Let us make man in our image and let them have dominion." Do you guys know what stands out about that part? Do you know that is actually what stands out? What stands out?
That they were both to have dominion.
That is true. No, I agree 100%. But let me say something that we may not be aware. Do you know that's the very first commandment given to man?
Well, I'm bringing this up.
Oh.
That's the very first commandment given to humanity. So that's why I say the commandments were not given to Israel at first. It was given to humanity.
Now, this might ruffle some feathers of what BA just said.
Yeah, that's the very first commandment.
Yeah, there's commandments all throughout this book. You're right, BA.
That's Torah.
Right.
That's Torah.
What he's saying is it was first given to humanity, the male and the female.
Exactly.
Well, at first it was given to the fish.
Okay. As far as humanity, though, true. That's right.
Hey, don't go to the left, don't go to the right. We're gonna
Right.
drive that point. We're gonna drive that point home.
We gonna drive it home, huh?
Drive that straight away.
Right. Okay.
Teacher, take a point. Point it out. Point the point out.
Right. So,
Arrow.
right. Is this making sense to everyone so far? A little bit. I want to go slow. Is this making sense to everyone so far?
Yeah, that's dope.
Hold on, you cutting out now, sis.
But you know what, BA, you right. But you know what pointed out. You know what, sis? I'm sorry, y'all. I just can I say something real quick?
Yeah, you can. We want to hear you. I was just saying
the
you were
reason why I
cutting
said
out.
that, BA. Oh, am I still cutting out?
Sometimes, but keep going.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that is the truth. That is the first commandment. But it was interesting while I was just reading that and while he was talking, I noticed how he told them both to have dominion. And we have this debacle about men and women leading. That's why that came to me.
No,
Women is supposed to be shut up in the church.
You breaking up bad,
Shut up,
Arlene.
woman.
Breaking up, sister.
Listen to
You
your
say you breaking up bad, sis.
you breaking up bad, real bad. But let me just bring some clarity real quick. Notice the Most High never said you rule over her and she be under you. You know what I'm saying? We have the masculine and we have the feminine. These are characteristics of the Most High that manifest through both individuals. These are characteristics. That's why it says the image. You know what I'm saying? So we are a reflection of the Most High. And a reflection of the Most High, we are to rule justly, righteously, co-heirs, This is a balance here. You know what I'm saying? And we have to look at it from that perspective. This lording and telling someone what they can and can't do. We don't see that in the commandments. We don't see that. That's the first commandment said, let them have dominion over the natural resources, which consists of the dirt, the water, the fish, all the animals. Those are all natural resources.
Could you put the whole verse back up there, Brother Marlon, while Brother BA is on the podium? Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. Go ahead, BA, please.
So that's the only thing we have rulership over. The earth, the natural resources. The earth belongs to us. That's who it belongs to. It belongs to humanity. Male and female are to rule together in unity. And when two are united, that is also an image and reflection of Mashiach, which also you may understand in the Greek is Christos. In the English, it's called Christ. That is also a reflection. You see the balance. You see the connection here. Just want to share that.
So can you bring up the whole of verse 26, 27, and 28, Brother Marlon, so we can see it in its entirety? Yeah. So the Most High said, let them be fruitful and multiply. So it's not just sexual reproduction. It's just production, period. I see it as, right? Production periods produce so that you can have things here on earth to help you sustain. Help you maintain and sustain, thrive, right? So, and replenish the earth. Now, people think the word replenish means do something over again. Replenish is just one word. It's not a redoing. It's just, it says fill the earth. It's malay, I believe the Hebrew word is, if I'm not, if I'm recalling correctly, but it just fill it, fill up the earth. It says fill up the earth, subdue it, and have, like BA said, dominion over the fish of the sea, have dominion over the fowl of the air, and have dominion over the living being creatures, not the human beings, but have every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Those are those like the cattle, the behemoth for the Hebrew word there. So is what BA said is profound, and he understood the point I was bringing out. The instructions. Oh, okay, brother, Marlon said there's another breakdown on this as well. You want to talk about that?
I was just saying that this from a discussion me and Amber had a little while ago. It was just referring to the masculine and feminine elements there of the Most High.
That's right. So, question comes up. Well, why do we call the Most High He? Good question. Does anybody else have that question? Why we call the Most High He? Huh?
Just have it.
Okay, out of habit. Anybody else want to know why we call the Most High He?
Yeah, I would say more so out of tradition. Just
Okay.
yeah.
Habit and tradition. Okay.
Now I would say because that's what I'm reading.
I got you. I got you. Okay, no, so
and that's
oh, my bad. Go ahead, sis.
When you
breaking up real bad, sis. Sis, you breaking up real bad, sis.
I hate this computer.
Is it the computer or your net? Because Xfinity been giving people problems. I'm gonna attest to that. Oh, you got Spectre down there. Okay, because woo wee. I had to I had to go to
You got Spectre?
Yeah. Spectrum.
Oh, that's why.
Okay.
Hey, you can't go right TNT, man. You got me nice over here.
Sounds like she's got a lag in her internet.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like. Okay. Hey, sis, you got the you know what you can do? You can stay. Can you stay on? Can you stay online, like to show your face if you want to, and then mute yourself while you're online, and then call from the phone number. That's what you're doing. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to mute. You're gonna have to mute one.
All right, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Come on with it, Sister Arlene.
Yeah.
Go ahead, speak your piece. You're on the podium now.
Oh, I wasn't trying to be on the podium. I was just in the pew. But
Go ahead.
What was I saying? First of all,
talking about if you read the Wisdom of Solomon, something rather.
Oh yeah. So if you read the Wisdom of Solomon, supposedly what is said is that the Holy Spirit or the Spirit is the feminine, a feminine. The Spirit, okay. The Holy Spirit is feminine. That's where you get the Father, the Son, but the Catholic Church, they took the woman out and they called the Holy Spirit he too. But if you read the Wisdom of Solomon, the Holy Spirit Solomon is actually calling the Holy Spirit a she.
And there's that debate too, and we're gonna talk about why we call them.
I believe that. I didn't say I believe that.
Yeah. No, hey, we just putting out information on the table. That's what we putting out. I've definitely seen that talk. Hey, the Holy Spirit is a he over. Over in the New Testament, and then the Holy Spirit is a she over in the Old Testament. I've definitely heard of all that. The thing about the language for Hebrew and Greek is that there are these masculine and feminine words. In English, a word is just a word. It's not even masculine or feminine. And masculine or feminine just means the form, the form or the how the consonants are situated, right? How the consonants are situated. You have feminine forms of words. You have masculine forms of words in the Hebrew and the Greek. So this is the thing about the Hebrew, especially the concreteness of Hebrew. So, say for example, if there's a classroom full of males, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a classroom full of males. They would be addressed as males, right? If there's a classroom full of females, they would be addressed as females, right? Mm-hmm. However, when there's a classroom of males and females, they all get reverted to being called that third person masculine singular word. So third person is that it will revert to he, right? He, and then masculine would be that form of the word, you know, how the consonants are structured together. And then singular is you know, words can be either singular or plural. So this is why we refer to the Most High as he, or like we are referring to Yod Hey Wah Hey, Yahweh, Yahuwah, however you want to pronounce it, Yahweh. This is why we keep referring to that deity, that power, that being as he, because we're saying everything is encompassed in this being, which is the masculine and the feminine traits, or a group of males and females in a classroom, right? So the females are in their classroom too. And people are like, well, how come the females are not being addressed? You just revert to everybody being called he in that case, or them, right? And also there was something I was thinking about too when it brethren. The term brethren. When when people say brethren, they think females are not included in that. Nah.
No,
Brethren, yep, brethren encompasses the whole. Brethren encompasses the whole of males and females. This is how the Hebrew language works. It's just crazy awesome like that. And when the Most High is addressing the sons of Israel, B'nai Israel, or the children of Israel, the females are encompassed in that as well. That's right. It just with the Hebrew language, it just reverts to going to that third person masculine. That's right. Revert to that. Yeah. So that's why we call the Most High he. Now, when we say he, we're not saying he as Brother BA or Brother Marlon here, or Brother Darius, right? Or Brother Joshua. Yeah. When we say he, we're not turning the Most High to a sex. Right. Because the Most High is a being that has masculine and feminine. Because here in chapter 1 of Genesis, we saw that this image produced the male and the female, right? Right. Yeah. We're just separated out entities.
He created something out of himself.
Right. And we're just separated out entities here as male and female on the earth. And this is why I believe when the marriage happens between the male and the female, you come back together, right? As that one, as the echad. That's why I said the one whole pie about the days thing. I'm like, okay, that's not too far fetched to me. You know what I mean? Like they were together to begin with. They were one to begin with, maybe, and then got separated out and then come back together. And this is my thing. Before we even let's read verses 29. Let's read verses 29. Then I want to go somewhere, and then I want to give it to y'all because I know how we gonna get when we get into this discussion. So, okay, you want to continue to read verse 29 on? Yeah.
Okay. All right. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed to you, it shall be for me. And to beasts of the earth, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so.
Last verse.
Okay. And God saw everything that he made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
Hallelujah. Please go back up to verse 29, Brother Marlon. Show verse 29, 30 and 30. I mean, verse 29. Yep, that's good. That's good. So at verse 29 and verse 30, a lot of people believe this is a commandment for veganism.
Oh, I didn't mean to laugh.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I understand. I don't believe it's a commandment for veganism. That's because I've done a little deeper in-depth study of the words there. for the Hebrew word esev and kortos.
Well, tell him he called it meat.
Well, this is the thing.
He said it shall be for meat.
You know, the Most High. The Most High looks at us as a tree, right? The Most High says, you know, you shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, right? So don't our males carry seed, right? And then they incubate seed in a woman. So the thing about it is I've seen that there is a good possibility that the Most High is saying, you know, there's this soil for growing grass that has the animals graze on it, and this soil or these things, or this soil or these natural resources from which things spring up out of this earth or foundation here are for you as well, you know, to go ahead and produce and multiply, you know, like cotton comes from plants, right? Cotton comes from plants. Diamonds come from coal, the natural resource of the mountains and the coal, right? So I'm seeing it as that. I'm not, but you know, I don't discredit veganism at all. I don't. I'm just saying there are definitely some people who see this as a commandment for veganism. Now, for me, I'll say this. For me, it's kind of different. That you know, that we're commanded veganism, so to speak, and then on the other hand, commanded to slay some lamb and eat it.
That's
you know,
for
Pesach or Passover. So that's why I kind of did that study. Now I'm just telling you guys things that trigger me to do certain studies and go more in depth and look at certain words in the Hebrew and certain words in the Greek.
But even Paul said, I believe it was in Colossians or one of them books back there with Paul, he talked about how Timothy, one of them, when people say they was going to abstain from meats and not do this and not do that, like it was an overkill, you know. He was warning them against, like, you know, people.
Well, that's something different.
Imagine vain things.
Yeah, that's something different, because over off in Roman imperial lands and times, you know, they did there was a lot of sacrifices to idols. There was a lot of sacrifices to human beings who were deified, so to speak, and you know, also that had also a little bit to do with people who, you know, who definitely did not believe in Messiah, so to speak. But we can get off into that later. I could definitely bring out some things or a series on Romans 14 and get more into the gist of that, because a lot of people think that has a lot to do with food. Food is the surface. It's something more in depth going on than food that was the real issue there. You know what I mean? And we could definitely get to that. But yeah, so a lot of people think that's a commandment there. And this is why I wanted to bring this up. We definitely would benefit from asking the Most High to give us discernment about what's a commandment, what's a curse, what's a consequence, what's a statute, what's an ordinance. You know, it would benefit to ask the Most High to give us discernment on what those things are, because a lot of times we probably don't know how to differentiate between them. We don't even know their initial definition. We don't know what they initially entail. We just don't know those things sometimes. So I just wanted to bring that part out. When let's go to Genesis 6. Is that where I want to go? Yeah, let's go to Genesis 6 real quick. Let's go to Genesis 6. I don't want to spend too much time here, but this is when the Most High got upset with humanity, right? And gave him about 120 years to get it right. Noah built the ark. Noah and his family was in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Noah, his wife, their 3 sons, and their 3 wives. And these are the questions I raise. Like, out of Noah's sons, who all came from Noah and his wife, you get 3 different types of people now. You get Shemites, you get Hamites, and you get Japhetites. Japhites, right?
Yeah, whatever.
Right. So I'll be like, well, how do we go from Noah and his wife as a parent to now they actually are they are the progeny of what's going to become 3, what people would say, ethnic peoples. How do you get 3 ethnic peoples from some bodies who came from the same mother and father? Anybody want to take a stab at that, or anybody else have had that question arise ever?
Absolutely. Ever. The question arises, absolutely. But how did it happen? Shoot. I'll be wondering.
Okay. So I think when the Most High, when the ark settled, right? We don't have to read this, but just go back and look at this. What is the account in chapter 6, 7, 8, and 9, especially chapter 9, when the ark settles, right, on what's the area of Syria, Turkey, or whatever, right?
Iraq.
Some people call it that, some people don't. You have Ham, Noah's son, you have Shem, Noah's son, and you have Japheth, Noah's son. They all settle in different geographical locations.
Yeah.
So, would you guys say that that's the strongest possibility of how these 3 brothers from the same mother and father became the progeny of, or the progenitors of 3 so-called ethnic groups?
Their wives have to be a factor too, though, right?
Say that again.
Their wives have to be a factor too.
Their wives have to be a factor too. And how so, Brother Marlon?
I mean, that's pretty straight up genetics there. But if their wives were potentially from a different, tribe or clan, prior to them getting married, prior to the ark and things like that, they're gonna have to have some sort of different type of offspring, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, are the wives then, like, because that's a good point you bring up with the wives, because I don't even see any account of the wives having anything to do with the seed or the people that comes from Ham, Shem, and Japheth. I just always hear Hamitic, Shemitic, Japhetic, right? You don't hear nothing about these wives.
Right, but think about, okay, so what about like Edom and Jacob, right? So they both came from the same house, right? But Jacob was instructed to go get one of the wives from his father's house or his grandfather's house, right, from their land. Whereas Edom went around and got the women of the Canaanites and had a whole different offspring from there. And so there you also have 2 type of ethnic groups too.
Good point. Okay, I got you. So you're saying the wives, whoever, these wives were just humanity at this time, right? We don't know that there was no sense of tribe or anything during the time of Noah, right? You just get Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And Brother Marlon brought up a good point. The line of the women could play a part in these groups now becoming the progenitors of the peoples who stem from them, right? So now you got Ham, Shem, and Japheth.
Well, Edom liked them Canaanite girls. He liked them Canaanite women's.
True. But that's a long shot from where, we at. So we just, because it says the corruption of mankind here. I kind of dig the fact that Blue Letter Bible, it has titles to the beginnings of each section of verse, right? It says corruption of mankind. So at this time, it was just mankind still. Yeah. So this is why I say, when people talk about lineage, before we had a Ham, a Shem, and a Japheth, before we had a Shem to give Abraham, what was Noah's ethnicity? Don't see? It's like
No, I mean, I read other books and stuff. So I
I feel
mean,
you.
you
What
know,
the other books say Noah's
I mean,
ethnicity was?
his ethnicity. I mean, when he was born, he was different from everybody else.
Okay.
It was almost he was described as being a light complected person, different from Methuselah, different from Enoch, different from all of them.
What ethnicity would be
Well,
that as?
he would have been a black albino is what they would call it, but I don't know.
Okay, it's black albino ethnicity.
No, it ain't. But
Okay,
I'm
so
just saying,
I know, and this is why I'm raising the question of when people try to talk about lineage. I don't have a problem with lineage. I just be like, okay, that opens up a possible rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Because I'm asking what ethnicity was Noah, and this and
well, then what ethnicity was his father?
exactly. So you see the rabbit hole.
Yeah, you start with his father.
So and the thing is, what ethnicity was he?
Well, like I said, I read a lot of books.
Okay.
So I mean, I got books telling me in the beginning of time there was just a certain kind of color of people.
Okay, is a color an ethnicity though?
No.
Okay, let's move forward though. Let's move forward. Let's just move forward. All right, so Ham,
but you know
Shem, and
what I'm
Japheth.
saying.
No, I don't know what you're saying. But we're gonna move forward.
Okay.
So you got Ham, Shem, and Japheth. You got Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? Go to Genesis chapter 10.
Who?
Genesis chapter 10. We almost there. I mean, and we're gonna continue this series. This is not a one-day thing. And Brother Marlon, he gonna come in and teach. You know what I mean? Unless he wants to continue with this, because this is gonna be a while. We're gonna spend some time in this. What is and why Torah? Because I didn't want to go through a regular Torah cycle. You know what I mean? I didn't want to go through a regular Torah cycle. Let's just read the first 5 chapters of Genesis and then keep going from and talk about the commandments. That way, I wanted to do something just unorthodox. So, you see, the Blue Letter Bible again. It has its title in these sections: Descendants of Noah. For the first verse of Genesis chapter 10 says, "Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood." So now Japheth becomes this ethnicity. I mean, you got 3 brothers who come from the same mother and father. Now they, it just be dawning on me like, yo, you get different, But watch this. We gonna I think we're gonna see some things, like I said, as far as geographical location playing a part in how you get different ethnicities, so to speak, right? Okay, so you got Ham, Shem, and Japheth. We're not going to read all of this, but if you do read Genesis chapter 10, you got all of these different subcategories of people of Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? And all of these are pretty much everybody who makes up the earth, right? But go to Genesis chapter 11 real quick, Brother Marlon. Keep this tab open and open up Genesis 11 in another tab.
Oh, I'll go back to it. Oh, I got you. All right.
So, universal language, babble, and confusion. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. So, you got Genesis 11 coming after Genesis 10. See, Genesis 10, everybody's divided up already. In Genesis 11, you got everybody as one. And this is the crazy thing about the text. sometimes the text do flashbacks. Sometimes the text gives you the result first, and then the actual story of how everything came about before the result second.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of crazy, right? So Genesis chapter 11, verse 2. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Keep going down. I'm going to read quite a few of this.
I can read if you want.
Sure. Go ahead, Brother Marlon.
We'll go to verse 3.
Yeah, keep going until I tell you stop.
I got you. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence the Lord did scatter them abroad upon all the face of the earth.
Okay, so pause. And then after that, it goes into the descendants of Shem.
Right.
Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, you got.
Okay, cool. Man, this thing's okay. So, everyone was one. Everyone was one. Before we had any ethnicities, everyone was one. So, when the Most High did the scattering, to different geographical locations. They all got different languages. And if you read Deuteronomy 32, right? Over in these, when the Most High scattered the people, the Most High put an Elohim over each of those different peoples in their different geographical locations with their different languages they speak in now. Let me ask y'all this. Did the Most High want everyone to be scattered, or does the Most High want everyone to be one?
He wanted to, I think, one until they start acting up over there.
Okay. So you believe the Most High wanted everyone to be one. Okay, Brother Marlon, what's your take?
Just the way I think of it, right? I do believe that he does have, all understanding and knowledge. But I also believe that there are various scenarios that can be done by our free will, right? So he may have 3 different scenarios he altered for us to walk path A, B, or C, but our free will dictates which one we actually will go to. And that can trigger, the next sequence of events. And so for, let's say, all of us, people wanting us all to be maybe on one accord or one mind, I think that would be more like having a factory. I think when you have that mix up in that variety, it allows you to kind of challenge yourself in a different way, as well as a people, and build that unity through diversity and through that challenge of being different. I think that's one possible avenue there, but that's just, my opinion.
Gotcha. Anyone else? Okay, I believe the Most High wanted us to be one. When I say us, I mean humankind. And that's because of what I see in Genesis chapter 1. What I see here in Genesis chapter 11 is that everyone was one. However, they were one with what was not in the will of the Most High, which is let's try to go up and knock the Most High out the spot, and we be in the spot.
You're referring to one in mind.
I mean, one in mind, one in spirit, because you have children.
Doing it again.
Right? What? What? Something again?
No,
What?
I'm saying it. Go ahead. I'll finish after you go.
No, I was just trying to. I mean, come on with it.
Well, it's like because in the beginning mankind was one, right? Until they start trying to make war against the heavens, I guess. But then when you look at it, when it comes through Christ, we going back to the same thing: one mind, one body, one Lord. It comes back to being one. Even in the world, the spirit of the world, that's not even in accordance with the Most High. They want to be one. That's why they want everybody to do the same exact thing, because they have that same kind of mindset, but they're doing it in the wrong way. As you just said, they were one, but then they started getting off from what the Most High wanted. So that's why he did what he did, to say, hey, you ain't doing that. You was good until you started doing this. So anyway, It's just, to me, it's coming back to, okay, because in order to get into the kingdom, you can't lie, you can't steal, you can't cheat, you can't do this, you can't do that. We must all be in the same, just like the military, the same kind of suit, the same kind of posture, the same kind of mindset, the same kind of, you know what I mean? Anyway.
Yeah.
So when you, my bad. Go ahead.
No, you good. I'll finish.
I was saying I understand that completely, but I feel like you're looking at it from a standpoint of being a powerful deity, right? But I'm looking at it from a standpoint of being a loving deity, right? And where you're going to have differences, I think it's a matter of us finding our path to being of one mind through the differences we do have. And so it's not necessarily saying that we need to be militant or uniform or, obedient by that same line, because you may have one person that has a different challenge or a set of challenges they have to deal with. And it may seem like you're, being more sinful than the other person or vice versa. But you don't really know the path they're going through, I guess. And so I'm looking at it as we have a different set of paths and challenges there, but that makes it more of a unique experience in a sense, because if you're going to raise your household there, you don't really want your children to all be the same, right? In the same uniform. You still want to have, you're going to give them love. You want them to show love. But you want them to find their own way doing it. That's the kind of way I'm getting.
I understand what you're saying, Martin, but I didn't mean it that way. But I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying they all have to be the same way, robots, and you pick up your fork the same time I pick mine up. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I was just saying I'm speaking in terms of the oneness. That's all I'm saying. Now, however way you gonna get there being one, because we call all of ourselves keeping the commandments, but I'm not keeping this, probably just keeping it the same way you might be keeping, your Passover or whatever. You might have a leg of lamb and I may not, but I'm still over here, got my crackers and my juice. You know what I'm saying? I understand what you're saying. No, I wasn't looking at it from a position of power. I was just looking at it as far as when Shanti said, she believes that the Most High wants us to be one, and not necessarily you don't have your personality and I ain't got mine. No, we both have different personalities. You know what I'm saying? So no, I get.
I didn't even get to explain that part though, but about what I meant by one. So if you go back to Genesis 1, and Brother Marlon, this is what I mean by I am of the opinion and of the belief that the text says, or the text indicates, that we are to be one in a certain sense. And I'm not saying let's all have different I'm not saying let's not all have different personalities. I'm not saying let's all I'm not saying not let us not all, what am I trying to say? I'm not trying to say we shouldn't have differences of the favorite ice cream or favorite food, right? I'm not saying that. When you Courtney, you are in a house. You guys have come together and you built this family, right? And remember, rules govern a family. And what that family is a house. Not necessarily the four walls of sheetrock and roof. I'm talking about you, your wife, your children. You guys are a family. There are things that you do. There are things that you don't do. And that defines you as youing, right? So I
Right.
believe that the Most High in Genesis 1 was setting up a house.
Right.
And we call this house a garden. So, and we call this house a kingdom. We call this house a garden. We call this house a temple. We call this house, that a temple, a house, a garden, a kingdom. And the humanity, I believe, those are pretty much the children, the representatives, right? The children. So I believe the mankind was probably pretty much the children, and the children were given things to be able to abide by in this house or in this garden, right? I didn't even get to the chapter 2 yet in Genesis, but we'll do that next time. But what I'm saying is, one, in the sense where you don't give your children, well, let's say for example, you have the boys and the girls, right? You may tell the boys, hey, in the house, you take out the trash. You may tell the girls, okay, you guys
You could.
dust. No, let's dust or whatever, right? And say, okay, you boys, you take out the trash, you girls, you dust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now there may be different rules for your boys as opposed to your girls. However, there are rules, right? The rules
Mm-hmm.
is, so it won't you and Sister Courtney, pretty much those the rules you set, they have to abide by them, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's what I mean by one. I believe that the Most High wants us to be one, in that our 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 duty here is to render unto the Creator what the Creator wants, because we are the creation.
That's right.
And your children in your house, even though they have different personalities, even though they got different choice of food, right? Their ultimate will has to line up with your will, correct? They have to ultimately do what you set out for them to do. And what you tell them not to do, they ultimately have not to do, right? Okay, so now, well, I brought up ice cream, right? And this goes back to the question you and Sister Courtney had at the beginning. And I did say sometimes the Most High's, well, I did say sometimes our initial will or desire lines up with the Most High. So for example, you and Sister Courtney might like ice cream, right? You desire ice cream. And your so your kids' first will, your children's first will might be, I like ice cream, right? Your will is, I like ice cream. Is that something you allow in the house, ice cream? You know? So see what I meant by the children's initial will sometimes does line up with, or the children's initial desire sometimes does line up with the Most High's desire, because hey, the Most High might like ice cream too, right? So if you and Sister Courtney don't got no problem with ice cream, your children don't got no problem with ice cream, that's lining up with the will. Now, where the will doesn't line up with the children, say for example, the children, when they get older, teenagers, like, I'm dealing with my nieces and my nephews, their will, they always try to have their will above their parents' will. But their will and desire does not always match up with the parents' will. And even though we know we're supposed to line up with the parents' will, sometimes we're going to fight to get our will when we know it doesn't mesh with the parents' will. So that's what I believe in Genesis chapter 1. So that garden is that house, is that temple, is that kingdom. And ultimately, the Most High is the Father. Humanity, we're the children. We're supposed to definitely line up with the will, even though we might talk different, we might sound different, we might act a little different, right? Because we're individual beings, right? We still have to come to the foundation of the ultimate will in the house is that of the Most High's. So that's why I gave the analogy of you and Sister Courtney. I don't know. That's how I can best explain things, you know, when it comes to practicality and how we can relate to them when it comes to the Most High. That's what I mean by one. I believe we're supposed to be one. Now, say for example, back over in Genesis 11, say for example, humanity was my nieces and nephews. They all on one accord to have a party. I'm using a true story. They all on one accord to have a party. You know what I mean? but they having a party. The type of party they having is definitely against their parents' will, and they go on and have a party. And guess what? Parent be like, no more parties.
Yep.
Yeah, coming together is cool, but what are you coming together and what's the intent or purpose driving you coming together or bringing you together? See, in Genesis 11, that purpose of unity is good, but not when you're in unity to go against the Most High.
Right.
And so that's what I meant by when the Most High scattered us. You see the scattering happening in happening in the chapter before. You see everyone scattered in a different peoples when you get to Genesis chapter 10, but when you in Genesis chapter 11, everyone's as one. So the result came first in chapter 10, and the event that led up to the results came later in chapter 11. And so we'll talk about next time. Immediately after Genesis 11, you see something in Genesis 12. Let's bring up Genesis 12. We'll get deeper into it next time, but you'll see Genesis 12. All of Abram. Now the Lord said to Abram, where Abram come from all out the blue, huh? Now the Lord said to Abram, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you, and I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you, I will curse. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. In you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed.
That's big, right?
Ain't it big?
Yeah.
Ain't it big? And I know people are like, well, Shanti, how does this tie into what is and why Torah? You see, we got instructions in the beginning, starting with Genesis 1 and 2. We'll get off into, right? We'll get more into that. But we're going to also go into Abram coming in all of a sudden after all the families of the earth is all scattered. And how the Most High says to Abram, in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. All the families of the earth shall be blessed. All right. I'm done. Anybody want to have any comments or concerns, anything they want to add before we close it out for the day? Oh,
Good.
quiet now.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I just said good topic, good stuff. Good class.
Yeah, most definitely.
Thought provoking.
Not provoking.
It's I already know it's about to get deep, so I'm just excited.
Hey, wait a minute. Let's go get me a drink first, because
What?
I didn't say what kind of drink.
Hey, it's the Sabbath. I mean, shoot. I mean, drink up. Shoot.
Definitely appreciate you bringing this out, though. So I'm just excited to see what we got going on for part 2. And yeah, thank you.
Welcome. It's going to be a long series. It might take us some time to get through this. I just want to definitely.
Marlon, I missed the tithes and offerings. I'm upset about that, but I can't go do nothing about it. I wouldn't in the oneness secret back. Yes, last week.
You sent the recording, so we can send out the recording. But you got the PowerPoint that was sent out too.
Oh, I want the recording though. I got to follow with. I want to. Can I get the recording somehow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it sent out. Send out both of them.
I want to see that.
I just want to say that I thought it was